if, let's see what happens. Yeah. No, they blocked us. So. Well, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube and we're on the website and we're on Twitch. Is that Twitch? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Well, anyway, 3 platforms is better than 0, right?
Yeah, exactly. What happened? Why did you get banned? You know?
They're not telling me.
Right.
They're not telling me. We don't really talk about anything.
No.
I mean, obviously, David Icke is a big target. So.
Well, yeah, you just got to say his name, haven't you?
Yeah, we didn't. The first time we did a show with them, they didn't block us, but Facebook removed all of our videos. But then they came back, and so we'll just see what happens. But yeah, it's interesting. It really is. So we'll just have to see. We're going to have to find a new way. The idea has been given to me, for 10 years, but specifically since about 2016. The Arcturians came in and laid everything out. They showed me everything and they would show me more, but essentially we'll get to a point, and I think it's going to be pretty quick. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we're all magic, right?
Yeah.
But we'll have a site where the community will build it. It'll be like user friendly, kind of like Facebook or YouTube, really a combination of both, but it'll have a personal profile and then instant messaging, and no censorship. We've got our own server, have our own web hosting, and no interference. So,
is that what David's done himself? Is that?
He's done something like that. Quite a few people have. I think the advantage that we have is that when we create the avenue for people to go in and create their own profile and have the same type of features that you have on Facebook, we'll have, I don't know what the number will be, but I think it'll be a pretty big number. I'd say probably 50 to maybe 100,000 people, within the first couple of months. But the foundation of it will be this type of frequency. So I guess at some point, if it grows, it'll draw in other types of communities. But I think the foundation of it will be Soulogy type communities and the Soulogy community. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I've seen it in the ethers for 10 years and it just never was the right time.
Yeah, the world's changing so fast.
Yeah, we actually had put one together in 2019 and it had those features, but it was very, it wasn't as technologically advanced as I wanted to see it. It just wasn't time. So now we have, this is it, step off the plank and just go for it. But and then, the second phase would be to create an app. And then people can access it just like they do on Facebook. So I expect it to grow very fast, but I'm just taking it one day at a time. So focusing on the present moment. And I got to say that there's been a real shift. I would say probably that coincided on or about when the two of you came on. I've noticed a real shift in people coming out in private messages and on comments, basically saying, in a nutshell, we've been watching you for a long, long time. And they're starting to speak, I guess. Like I had 2 comments in one day and they said, I've never put a comment up and I've been watching you for a long time. And I feel like it's time. So I feel like it's almost like an energy of people starting to say, hey, I'm like all these other crazy people. So let me speak. Facebook is out. Yeah. So no biggie. We got this. But, for those of you on the mostly going to be on the replay, it looks like, although we got 15 people in here, probably grow because they don't really put our notifications out. So it usually takes about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But yeah, we had a great conversation with you and that beautiful, that beautiful soul. But, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, you yourself just have that same magic, so I'm excited to be talking to you.
Thank you.
Because it's so refreshing to see energies and personalities like yourself that have been in the background. And it takes a lot. I think it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It's not something I can relate to because I guess because I was built the way I'm built and I've been doing this. I mean, I think I've been part of it's over 5,000 videos. This show alone is 3,000. But in the early days, I didn't do this show. It was just a lot of me. And until these apps came out and the idea of, Morgan said, why don't you start bringing other people on? It's not all about you. But it's the energy's different because now people like yourself are stepping up. And
the thing is, I think you just tend to lead a normal life, it feels like, although things go on. I mean, some things that have happened to me, I think, well, where can I take this? I want to talk to someone about it, and there's just nobody because it's a bit crazy and you can't totally make sense of it. But if you sort of join community and listen to people on your show, it automatically makes you think, oh, there is people out there who've got similar things. But I mean, I
have a feeling, a lot of people talk about the 1%, the Illuminati, and I think to myself, well, they don't call it 1% for nothing. If it's 1%, what does that mean? Well, that means there's 99% that's not the 1%. Not that they're, we know that we're all souls and we're all, but I really believe that the vast majority, I don't know if it's 99%, but the vast majority of people are just like us.
Well, I think so. And I think the other thing is that if you don't, I have things sometimes that happen and it's like I see something else happening while I'm doing something else. It's like there's another reality appears, but it's so quick and it's such a flash that unless you're really conscious and aware, you don't notice it. And the more you notice it, the more it happens. And I think that probably happens to everyone, but they don't necessarily all pick up on it. But the more you talk about it and experience it and discuss it, the more people are going to recognize that that's happening, that there is other realities all around us happening all the time. And you might not make sense of them, but they're there, or it's you doing something else. You're here doing something and you see yourself somewhere else doing something at exactly the same time. And it's so clear and it's so real, but it's so quick. You can't almost hold it because it's just so fast.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the timelines, isn't it? The slips of timelines that we have.
I don't know. I some people talk about how, for instance, like what I was talking about last night in the room, like if you look directly at it, it goes away. But if you're looking at it on the peripheral,
I've seen craft like that. I've looked out at the sky and I've seen things moving, but as soon as I look straight at it, I can't see it. But if I look straight ahead, I can follow it and it's moving. And it's amazing it's amazing. The world is amazing what's going on.
It really is.
It's catching it, isn't it? And having time and believing it and not getting caught in the 3D. It's quite hard, I think, sometimes when you've got family and work and different things that go on to, keep that magic and recognize it and see it, because you can get so easily sucked into the rest of it.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think that on two things. One, if you engage it, it grows. And two, the more, like this show, I think is a good example, because if you talk about these things, people, like you said, everyone's has access to it and actually experience it. But we spend so much time going, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't see that. Or that's a coincidence.
Or you just ignore it almost, so it's a flash in the eye and it's like, oh, no, that,
Yeah, because it's not part of the grind. But the more that we talk about it, the more it's accepted. And the more it's accepted, I guess deep down in the subconscious, the more you believe it, then the more you see it. And that's where I think we're at. So it's interesting because you've got this gross distortion that's almost comical. And then you have these individuals that are like the two of you coming out, even you coming out, like right now. That's a huge, that's a huge, but it's huge. It's huge. It's so huge. And I get messages every day from people, and they're just getting, more and more every day. And they're speaking more every day. And what they're saying is, well, I think overall what they're saying is it's okay to come out now. And it's happening. So
I think I still have a sort of nerves going to the school playground and discussing it, because I might like to.
Yeah.
But, you still, I think to certainly something we do over here anyway, pick your moments, but there's definitely more and more growing. And I've got the little daughter, but I've got two older daughters as well, and a grandchild, and they are totally, with all this, and they know lots of people their age in their sort of early 30s, late 20s, who are really into, believing and experiencing stuff. So it's definitely growing, definitely.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think it's always been there, but now people are talking about it. Now people are going, oh yeah, I see dragons.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be.
We'll feel the energies.
Which is the other thing that's kind of, I guess, not delayed it, but everybody's experience is different. Some people are more galactic, and some people are more tied to the elemental type of frequencies, and there's just so many different types of experiences.
I'll tell you something funny that I saw. We've been away for a week, and we were in a caravan. It had little ventilation shafts in the floor, and you could see the plants and the grass underneath. And this is crazy. I don't know why I'm saying this. And I leant over one morning and looked down, and I saw a leaf, and it had a face, and it was waving at me, and it was definitely there, And I looked later, and it wasn't there anymore. But it was. I saw it. I know it was there. There was a little leaf with a face waving. It was magical. And I said to her, Amy, it's incredible. I just seen this leaf waving at me with a big smile. I know it sounds mad, doesn't it? But it's true.
No, it's not. I remember being at and I've had a lot of experiences like you have, I'm sure. And I remember being at Soulogy Fest, and Franco. I don't know if you've ever seen Franco speak, but he's very credible. And anyway, so he got up to give his first presentation, and I was sitting on the floor, but it was a big tent, so the floor had some carpet, different pieces of carpet on it. But where I was sitting, there wasn't any carpet; it was just dirt. It was the red dirt of Sedona.
Yeah.
And Franco says, because he can see obviously a little bit more than other people can. And he looked around the room and he said, my God, Todd, you have a lot of friends here. And he wasn't talking about the people.
No.
So at that moment, I just happened to look down at the ground, and I saw all these faces, like reptilian face and a Pleiadian face. And I thought, oh my God. But again, it's like the leaf, You look at it and it's there, and then you look back and it's not there.
And nobody else would see it. It was just literally for you. That little smiley face was for you that morning. It was a little messy. It was so lovely. But I have seen fairies as well. I went to Ireland, Southern Ireland, years and years and years ago, and we went through this wood, and it came to this little tower. It was, and it was obviously being protected, and there was just sparkles and angels, fairies all over, flying through the leaves, and it was just so magical. You stood there and felt, we're not meant to be here, because I was with my other two daughters at the time, and we sort of stepped back and left, but they were there. They were all around this tower. Obviously something magical was there, and they were looking after it, and we weren't supposed to, we happened to just walk in on it. But it's the only time I've really seen one, but there's lots of them flying.
Yeah, it makes you think about, like for instance, if I was in your neighborhood and I just walked in the door into your house, right? You know what I mean? Versus knocking. So like even out here, there's this force out here that I connect to. and it's gone from me just walking out there, you know, almost like taking things for granted. And now I walk out, and if I want to try to connect to this mother tree out here, for instance, I'll ask her, can I speak with you, or can I enter this space?
Yeah.
Not that they own it, but that it is like you said,
Walking into their property. Their guardianship. That's what they are. We are. We've got guardianship of different things, you know, whether it be a crystal or a child or whatever. You don't own them, but you guard them, you look after them, protect them, and when they move on, or however it is. But it's the same with the land, isn't it? It's unbelievable. People seem to think they own so much of the land, and they don't. You know, they can guard it and look after it, but nobody owns the world or the land or space or a star or anything. It's so ridiculous.
That's right.
People believe.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that meme a couple of days ago. I've seen it before, and it was the CEO of Nestle, you know, that makes the chocolate. And I guess they make water. And he said, he said, water is not a human right. You got to pay for it. I'm thinking, what are you talking about?
We're made of that. It's
so
crazy, isn't it?
You know, we got to know you and your daughter. That was mind blowing. I mean, it was.
You know, one of the most profound things I think she's ever come out with. She's come out with some amazing stuff, and one of the most profound things I think she said to me is, "We have no age. We're all the same age." I mean, that is just the total. You know, we're all one. We're all the same age. We've just got different bodies that age at different times because we've come in at different times, or we're all on different timelines, however you want to look at it. But no, we're all the same age. Said to me everything. We're the same energy. We're just doing different things to experience the world. Yeah.
Looks different on the outside, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so, I mean, now she's what, like 9? Is
12.
she 9 or 12? 12. Like before she came in, and I know that there was communication and all that, but I mean, like
going back to me.
Yeah, but like going way back, were you having experiences during your life? You were.
Yeah. I've had loads actually, but most of them don't add up to anything. I woke up once and I had soot all up my nose. I have no idea why. I went to bed, woke up, and I'm black, and it was literally up 2 nostrils. I still don't know what that was all about.
What was it?
Soot, black soot up my nose. That's some weird things happening.
Wow.
I don't know what happened that night when I was asleep, but that's what I woke up with. It was really odd. So I've had some funny things. I mean, one of the first things that's really noticeable, I suppose, was I had poltergeist experiences when I was a teenager. When I was about Amy's age and a bit older. I think now they're probably galactic experiences, but at the time I was at a friend's house when it kept happening, and they just said it was a poltergeist. But I was really scared in the beginning. I've never been so frightened all my life. The windows were rattling, things were being thrown at windows. And whenever I stayed there, stuff went on. It was in the middle of nowhere, and you know, just strange stuff happened. But got used to it in the end, and just used to find it annoying, lights going on and off, and doors opening up, and things being thrown around. But I also, when I was 14, I had another experience. I had quite a dysfunctional family life, and I can remember I was lying on my bed, and I was really upset, and I got taken. And I don't know what by, but it was beautiful, and I think it put me on my spiritual path really, because it just took me above the house. I floated up, and I was just, the love was just the most amazing love I've ever felt. Never felt it anywhere before. It was an incredible experience, and I was just floated above the house. I was going further and further away, being held with this just amazing love, and nothing earth-like at all. And I suddenly realised what was happening, and I was saying, I didn't meditate or anything in those days. I didn't, and I wasn't asleep. I was awake. And I said, I can't go, you know, there's things going on at home. What about my little brother? What about my ill mother and stuff? And it just said, don't worry, it's just dust. Don't worry about what happens. Everything's fine. It's just dust. I remember it really clearly. It's all just dust. It all blew away. Don't worry. And I just floated in this, I mean, it was telepathic, the voice. And I just floated for ages up in the clouds. It was really lovely. And
Wow.
I don't know how I came back. I don't remember coming back, but I came back with the image of a white dove. And I've always held the image of a white dove as a, you know, as a meaning, you know, just a memory or a symbol. Sometimes I sit in my head and it's fluttering and agitated, and I know something's going on I've got to sort out. But it's the most amazing experience. And from then on, I think it changed me totally, but I became a bit sort of, because of my home life, I became a bit stronger and just stopped really listening to adults, I think, and became very independent and stopped. I think that's when I stopped listening, you know, work things out for myself, as it were. So like what's going on now, you know, rather than follow the crowd, I've always been somebody who works it out first in my head before I think or act. I don't just do what I'm told, basically. Never have done.
Spoken like a true rebel.
Yeah,
Totally. These souls though, like this, they have that flavor to them, you know, the questioning, you know, the not fitting in,
the independent thought,
yeah,
and really strong heart. I mean, I was a bit at that time. I was angry and really fed up with life, really. So I just became really strong, but I wasn't vulnerable. I was strong. Do you know what I mean? I had a sort of a shield around me, whereas I've had to learn to become vulnerable as I've got more into my spirituality, I suppose, and more conscious of things around me as well, which I think came in when I did Reiki. I did Reiki 2012, started Reiki, and I really felt the energies then, and it opened me up to a lot more.
So I've heard a lot of people talk about how Reiki was kind of like, if not the bridge, a kind of a point where they expanded. Is it did it come for you when you were putting your hands, you know, and treating someone, or when you were being treated?
I just started learning it, really, and yeah, I just felt the energies. I could then really decipher energies when I walked places, when I went near people. It taught me to manage energy, recognize energy, and use energy. When I did do Reiki healing, it wasn't Reiki healing, it was love. I just felt love. I've always called, I mean, whether it's Reiki or not, I don't think you need to give it a name, really. It's just a beautiful energy that comes into you and goes through you into somebody else, because it touches your heart. It turns it into this absolute pure love. That's how I see it. I always thought it was love. I gave love to people, but it came to me first. So I was just obviously the vessel.
Yeah, the conduit.
Yeah, and I find it's really powerful in lots of ways. I don't do it so much now. I do more. I do grid healing. I do crystal grid and put energy into them, and I also do distance healing more than personal healing. I suppose COVID as well stopped all that to a certain extent, because you couldn't meet up with people.
Wow, that's pretty cool. How did that all come about? Did you just have an internal?
I always wanted to do it, I suppose. I always wanted to do that sort of thing, but I'd never got around to doing it. And I don't know, but more and more experiences happened in my life. I don't know. It's funny, isn't it? Because one of my first jobs was, I was a nurse anyway. I worked in a hospital for a while, so I was nursing before I had my first children. And yeah, and I just believe in it. I believe in energies. I believe in spirit. I believe in, you know, that I've always believed there's a lot more than what we see. And that, I suppose, really helped me to get it. We lived in a house at the time that was totally haunted, so that helped. It had a portal in it, and things just kept coming through. You know, it's amazing. My poor son was terrified.
Really?
The main portal, I think, was in his room, and it used to beings, but just all the time were going through, and he was seeing them and getting really scared, because some of them were quite horrible sights for a child, what he was seeing. But I think because they knew he could see, this is what I was told, because they knew he could see them, they were stopping and trying to get him to respond. And of course, he was just freaking out about it. We lived in a really old house. It was like 200 years old. But it's more actually, the actual deeds were in a museum. But you know, the date was over 200 years old.
Wow.
The walls were like 2 foot thick, and there's loads that went on there, loads of stuff.
Wow.
And I suppose that's where Amy was born. Actually, she was born there. So.
She was born from a portal.
Yeah, she was portals in.
You said that at that point, things changed, when you were 14 or whatever that was, and that you were powerful and not vulnerable, or you know what I mean. That's what you said, but I was going to say that's how you come across. You come across like I can't even see you. Like in other words, something really strange or weird or catastrophic even could happen, and I can't see you getting, imbalanced. You just have like this calming
I've
energy.
always been told that, actually. I'm very calm, good in a crisis.
Yeah.
No, I'm quite grounded.
And so your son was able to see, obviously Amy is Amy. It sounds like it kind of runs in your family.
Yeah, I think it must do. Yeah. But yeah, he could see things, but whereas Amy, I've always felt he's brand new to the earth. So he's always found the earth quite a difficult place to be. He doesn't understand humans. He knows they lie and he doesn't get it. And, but because of his anxiety about being here in a way, he finds it really hard. So he's sort of shut down quite a bit to that. Although I know he's still got the abilities. He says it all the time. He hears music, he hears singing, and he hears funny noises and sees shapes. He's great. I think he sees a lot of sacred geometry flying around his room and stuff.
Wow.
But he doesn't like to talk about it too much. Whereas Amy is totally at home with it. She's never been fazed by anything she sees or hears, apart from like that one incident. But I won't talk about that online.
Yeah.
But
she has.
She's always been quite happy with it. Nothing's really bothered her about it. It's like, oh well,
She's kind of like you.
Yeah, she is actually. She's very similar to me. I think we're quite close because we sort of get each other.
Has it been a challenge for you to live a quote unquote normal life and have normal friends? And, has it been a challenge at all?
When I was younger, I was very normal anyway. So I just used to, things would go on, but I wouldn't necessarily talk about it too much. As I've got older, I think, especially once I started doing Reiki, I've got different friends, different friendship sort of group, I suppose. And and I suppose they're similar to me, really. So I don't have as many, but I don't need it. I don't feel I need to be surrounded by people. I don't need to chitter-chatter about nothing. Sorry, that sounds very judgmental.
No, I get what you're saying. Because I've met a lot of people like you, and it's interesting.
I just don't need it. I'm quite happy with my own company. I'm quite happy. I never watch telly. I'm not interested in telly. I don't know. I just happy the way it is, really. And people come along that I'm meant to meet and make friends that way. But
what about like relationships? Do you have to like tell them what's happening? Oh, by the way, this is my world, and I just need for you to know that.
No, I think I'm married, and he accepts it, I think. Don't know if he always believes everything I say, but yeah, he accepts it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of women, they come on the show and they talk about their partner, and they'll say, well, he's awake, but he doesn't know it.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I agree with that. There's all sorts of things he comes out with, and he sorts me out sometimes, especially because I do get a bit fed up sometimes with political things, which I shouldn't do. I know it's all very 3D and all the rest of it, but sometimes you just think,
it's dust.
Yeah, it's dust, exactly. That's basically what he'd say. Why do you worry about it? Yeah. So he sort of shuts me up, really, which is
good. It's something I've seen quite a bit, because I'd say 90% of the ones I've talked to, or maybe even more, have been the women. And I'd say probably 90% of, and I'll ask them about their situation, and 90% of them will say he's awake, but he doesn't know it. But they also say that somehow innately that the partner supports them and allows them to be who they are,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
provides
Absolutely.
like a almost like an unconscious container for them to thrive in.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, actually. I think because, you know, he you know, works hard and everything, and it gives me more space to do what I want to do. So, and what I feel is important. I mean, I see my spiritual life as a sort of job anyway, but obviously it doesn't provide money. So, you know, it's well, it does when I do Reiki sometimes, but not
And
enough to
you,
live off.
yeah, and you do. Have you found, because you mentioned distance healing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some people have mentioned it. I'm just curious, and obviously you've done it in person. Is it the same for you?
I find it's very similar, but it's sort of different, but it's very similar. It depends on the person you're working with, really, because sometimes people say they want it and they don't, or they say they want it but they don't believe it, and really they're healing themselves. All you're doing is helping by encouraging energies towards them. It's up to them to accept them, and then their body does the healing. You don't heal. You know, it's nothing to, even if that's the right word, I don't know, the nurture, love, whatever. You're just sending the loving vibes, as it were. And you know, when you do it distance in a way, it can be easier, especially if you don't know the person, because you don't have any preconceived ideas or anything. But again, it's up to them. When you do it in a person, I did it once on a lady, and this is interesting. She was really, really poorly, but she was, you know, she was going to die. But I felt really ill doing it with her. It was okay doing part of it, and then I went to her legs, and I couldn't. I nearly passed out, and I found out afterwards she'd actually broken her hip. And of course, you're not meant to do healing on somebody who's got a broken bone, because at the end of the day, you don't want to heal a broken bone. It needs to go to hospital and be mended first. So I thought that was interesting. So perhaps you get more experiences like that when you're healing in person. I've had quite a few channelings when I do healing.
Really?
Which is interesting, yeah.
Is it? I mean, it just comes in.
It comes in and it almost burns in your chest. You really want to say it. You can't really hold on to it, even if you think, would this person accept it? And sometimes people don't, and you know, get upset with you for saying
Wow,
things. But
that's
it's really strong. But it's almost like a dream. So once you said it, you forget it almost, because it's not your message. It's for them. It's a personal thing.
So when the channel comes in, is it a specific, you know, soul or entity speaking through you, or is it just?
I don't know. I don't get told who it is. I just get a message that I need to pass on.
Wow. Wow. Go in for a Reiki session and get a channel. That must be
Yeah,
tricky.
I mean, it doesn't happen every time, but it's happened quite a lot of times. And, you know, it is interesting when it happens, because it's so powerful. You just feel it, and you just know you've got to say it. And you've got to wait till you finish doing what you're doing as well, because otherwise, you know, it would distract and change the moment and everything. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of predicated on how open they are. It's basically allowing you, I guess, or allowing the possibility, or
Yeah.
something like that.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, it's people are really grateful. They're actually, you know, quite emotional normally, because it's like, wow, thank you. I didn't know I was going to receive that, or I need that information. Or there's one lady who, her mum was dying, and I don't do healing on everybody's dying, but her mum was dying, and when she died, you know, I spoke to her daughter. And she said, and I said, I'll go to, I had a special room. It's at the other house, actually, with the haunted one. I had a special room, and then I went down there, and instantly saw her mum, who had passed over. And she opened her hands up. She didn't speak. She just smiled. She was with another lady. And she opened her hands up, and she had, I think it was a dragonfly in her hands. And the dragonfly flew away, and she smiled and disappeared. And I went and said to my friends, you know, well, your mum sent this to you. And she said, oh my goodness. She said she'd send me that if there was an afterlife, and she'd come back and she'd make sure I got this message, and we both agreed on the symbol, and it was the dragonfly. It's powerful stuff, isn't it? So she was, hopefully she kept that and was reassured, you know, that her mum was okay.
Do you ever
sorry.
Go? No, you go ahead.
I was going to say which you know is reassuring for everybody. If you know, you know. I mean, I've always known there's more, but not everybody knows or believes, or you know. But there is. Yeah,
no doubt. And again, you can like say, well, that experience that you just described, I don't see how you could say that was a coincidence because you saw it.
No, I had no idea what, you know. I thought she'd come and just smile or say, you know, tell her I love her or something like that, you know. But it was so clear, and didn't speak. It was just a symbol of this dragonfly that flew off her hands.
It sounds like you're somewhat of a medium.
I've done a bit of medium stuff.
I mean, do you?
I know good at remote viewing. I've tried that. Can't do that.
You did?
Yeah, I've tried it. I can't do it. Well, I couldn't do it. I know. You know, it's not. I don't know. I'm better with people, working with people, rather than things and places and stuff. I mean, I can, like, you know, I've been to sacred spaces and done stuff in those places too.
Do you ever seek out the other side, so to speak, or does it just come to you when it comes to you? I ask for information sometimes, but not so much from people who've died or anything. It's more, you know, I just ask for, you know, I ask questions and get information back, really. You know, I get my questions answered that I ask. Is it like one voice, or do you have like, is it like, you know, like a specific? I don't know. People call it downloads, don't they? I don't like that term, but I think that's because I don't like computers much. I'm not a techno person at all. But yeah, I just get information come back into my head in my voice, you know, so whether it's higher self or spirit guide or whatever, I don't know. I mean, I do have dragons. I see dragons. I've got 3 dragons that are often around me. Really? Which are beautiful. One's massive galactic dragon that's right out there somewhere, miles away. But I just know they're there. So if I need them, they're more sort of protection or to do work on the earth. If I've got, if something's going on the planet and I think it really needs a bit more help than what I can give it, I get them to join in. Wow. So I definitely got them. I'm really drawn to cats. I adore cats. Cats are very special. You can watch a cat and it's more enlightened than humans. I swear. They sit on the bed all day enjoying themselves and go out and play, and they've just got it, aren't they? They're mindful. They're in the present moment. You just watch a cat, really. And they're independent. They're independent. They teach. They see stuff that I don't see. I have them sitting in my bed, and their eyes are going all over the place because something's going on I can't see. I'm great. I'm a vegetarian. I was born a vegetarian. Really? Yeah, I was born without my eye teeth and had to have a brace. And I don't remember this, but when I was 3, I went past a butcher's and a man was carrying a pig in. And I said to my mum, "Is that meat?" And she said, "Yeah." And that was it. I couldn't eat meat from then on. And I've never been able to eat meat. I used to be forced to, because when I was born, you didn't have such things as vegetarians. People didn't understand. You know, went to school and have your nose held with meat put in your mouth. But I'd be sick. I used to be sick. I can't eat it. I just, and I adore animals. I think animals are so precious. I think when I was a child, I preferred animals to humans. But as I got older, I've understood that, lots of very good humans as well. At least you're, at least that way you know what you're dealing with, right? Yeah, yeah. It's funny what you say about cats, because I never really had any relationship with them until I hit the road in 2016. And the next thing you know, everywhere I go, I've got cats coming up to me, and I started to realize that they were assisting me somehow.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Amy says that. Amy says the same, that,
Yeah.
you know, the cats, if she's feeling a bit upset or worried or anything, you know, the cat will come sit with her, not very well. You know, the cat will be there with her. And,
I can't see you or Amy getting worried about anything. You're like so calm. It's just like,
yeah.
but yeah, and you seem to have like, I mean, obviously, like with the Galactic Dragon, or even some of the other things that we had talked about, but you seem like you're very connected to the elemental and nature.
Yeah, I love nature. It's saved me so many times. In a way, you know, when I've been in a bad place, you just go out in nature and it sorts you out, doesn't it? Especially as a child, I used to always be, you know, roaming the hills with our dog rather than being at home, because I preferred it. It was a happier place out there. But
Have you found people like you? You know, I don't mean online, but I mean like just locally.
there's a little group of us that get together.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Reunification from the old lives, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. There's so much out there, isn't there? And every person that I know has got, you know, different gifts to offer. None of us are the same, are we?
No, I think that's part of the reason that the rest of the you know realities are maybe slow coming in, because everybody's bringing a different piece.
Yeah,
right.
And that's what put me off, really, as much as anything else, is the fact, because I see other people, I think, no, you're so gifted and you're so talented. I couldn't match that. You know, what I can do and see is not as good. But when you talk to someone, maybe it brings it out a bit. But actually, you know, maybe you have got something to offer that other people could do with hearing. Really.
Yeah. It's like you might bring the dragons, and I might bring something else.
And the big cats. I've had so many dreams about being with big cats, and I believe at one point I was, you know, had one experience where I was in Egypt, and I've never been to Egypt. I mean, you know, past life experience where I had a panther, and, you know.
A panther.
Yeah. I think if I got a spirit guide, I think it's a panther.
Well, if you're going to have a cat, you might as well have a panther or a tiger, right?
Yeah, exactly. Loads of dreams about tigers, loads of things like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so much out there, isn't there? I've had some weird galactic things. I've seen craft, and I had one a while back that sort of came over the house. In fact, New Year's Eve, me and Amy were out in the garden, back prancing around about midnight. We decided to go out and jump around. And there was one out there. There was this spaceship out there. It was a light. It didn't actually sit as a craft, but it was a light. It was in the sky. And I said to Ames, I said, you know, look at that. I'm sure that's not a star. It's far too big, or a planet. And I've never seen it there before. So she went and got my son, because he's really into the stars and stuff. And with that, when they came out, it moved. It was square, and it moved really slowly along, and it stopped. Then it went out. Then the light came back in exactly the same place, but slightly smaller, and just drifted off.
Wow. What'd your son say?
Well, he was impressed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's impressed with that. Yeah.
See,
And I had another one over the house recently that, and I had a voice that said to me, everybody's mesmerized. The whole world is mesmerized at the moment. People got to wake up and pull back the covers and see what's really happening. And I never, you know, the word mesmerized is an unusual word, I thought, but I suppose it's like hypnotized, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You know, you've got to get rid of this, of the covers was the word they used, and see what's really happening. But we're here. And if you do that, it said, if people do that, they'll see us. Everybody will see us, because we're here. But you can't, they're mesmerized, so it's like they're in a dream and they can't see what's here. You know, imagine the crafts and things that are out there, and the people and the energies that are all around. I mean, I buzz sometimes, I sort of fizz. It's really weird with the energies that are around.
Mesmerized.
Yeah, and it's a great word, isn't it?
It is because, there's all these different things we talk about. And it's like, how do you break the code? And it's like something that's like on the tip, like you're trying to, like it's on the tip of your tongue, right? Like on the tip of your mind's tongue. And you can't really put your finger on it. And it just seems so close. And when you're telling this story, I'm thinking, I know it's something really simple. Like almost like you said, you don't watch the telly, you've got your own reality, which is closer to the true realities, or it has more of it in it. It's almost like the movie's playing and we think the movie's real. And if we turn the projector off, then you can see.
You'll see that's what it said. It sounded like the way it was described, or they were talking to me, or whoever it was saying, it just sounded so easy, just pull the cover and you'll see us.
Yeah.
We're just so mesmerized. I just had visions of everybody sort of zombie-like walking around, and it's like, snap your fingers, wake up, see the reality that's around you, because it's far better than what you're actually living. It was really weird. It was big, round craft. It was brown with silver grids and things on it. It's very big. Normally it's just lights I see, but recently I've seen a couple of different ones.
Do you have any like specific type of galactic coming in, like a specific type of I don't want to say species, but like Andromedan or
no, not particularly. Like I said, I don't get told this, and I think I've sort of been told that I don't get told who they are, what they are, because because I'm a great one for research, and I'll start researching and reading up on everything that everybody else has said about them. And of course, with that would come then I'd start projecting and wouldn't, necessarily hear it or see it for what it really is. And also having Amy, who's so in touch, I might influence her. So I've been told I don't get given names or anything, but I do feel another thing that used to happen when I was a child, I always dreamt I could fly up until about the age of 12. I thought this is normal. It's only recently I've realized that actually that's not perhaps the most normal thing on earth. And I could fly. Every night I'd fly. I had to do a hop, skip and a jump, and I'd fly. I know what it's like to fly. I if I had wings, I'd know how to do it. And I used to fly, and I used to travel around the world saving animals and people. It's really hot.
We're all superheroes.
It's just what it sounds like, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And I used to just that was what I did every night. I'd go off, and it was quite often animals I'd save. Sometimes I had to get away from dark forces, so it was a bit, I had to rush to pick up the animal or whatever it was, or the person, and save them. And especially people, they were heavy, so sometimes it was quite hard to take off with them to save them from whatever situation they were in. And so this happened to me, but because I could fly, I could always get away and save them. And I wasn't able to eat or drink in my dreams, even though I wanted to. It was something I couldn't do. And the only other dream I'd have was I used to have this awful nightmare sometimes as well, which sort of, so if I didn't dream I could fly, I had this awful dream. And it was, I don't know if you ever saw it, because we're in a different country, but you used to have this program called the Clangers. That's a funny noise.
The Planners?
Clangers.
Oh, the Clangers, yes.
Yes, and they lived on that planet, and they lived of soup or something. I hated that program because it reminded me of my nightmare. I was on a planet, and there was this woman's voice talking to a tannoy, and she'd just talk and talk, and I was there, and I was stacking bones. Gross. And as a child, I used to have this dream that I had to stack these bones. And this voice, I don't know if it's prison or what, and this voice would just go on and on. And when I woke up, I always had to go and wake someone, because if I didn't, I'd keep hearing the voice even though I was awake. God. A bit gross.
It's like
karma, I think. It's some kind of weird karma.
Or maybe like a memory, or maybe even, I don't know, who knows? Yeah, it's crazy about that voice thing, because like you'll watch a movie. I don't know if you've ever seen 1984 or some of these futuristic movies. I
I've
remember
read
as
the
a
book. Yeah.
yeah, and so they would have like you could be walking just out in a social scene, and they'll have a voice always talking to you,
That's
right?
what
Like
it's like. It's horrible.
yeah. And so I went to over here. I'm in a small town in the state of Arkansas, which is where Walmart started. So
Yeah.
obviously, pretty much the only place I can go is Walmart, and it's very dense anyway. But I was walking through there a couple days ago, and they had the intercom going, but instead of using it for like aisle 13 needs help, or we need cashiers at the front, it just had this ongoing thing, and they were going, we have the medical procedure available at the pharmacy. Please wear your mask and be
Yeah,
responsible.
we
I mean,
get all that. We get that in the shop too.
and I never noticed it. And maybe it's new and maybe it's not, but it never stopped. I thought,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that's weird.
Real
That
brainwashing, isn't it?
yeah,
Total sort of
it was
stick that in
strange.
your head and don't forget it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not nice. But yeah, that voice, I don't know, it was horrible. I used to hate it.
Yeah, I walked in the other day. I had to go to the bigger town to another one because the one I'm at didn't have the organic produce I was looking for, and I walked in, and they had been closed for a couple of days, and I didn't notice it, but when I went to go check out, there was these three lines, and they were like, it looked like you were at the airport. And what had happened was they had converted the store to it's all self checkout.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, this is like some kind of futuristic movie, like this is weird. It's almost like no human contact kind of thing.
Yeah.
And everybody was just kind of like looking around like they couldn't believe it, but yet once they accepted it, they just went right in line. And I thought to myself, I'm never coming back. This is just like too weird, right?
It is, isn't it? It is. It's very robotic. They're getting us ready for the transhuman thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strange.
Make us all transhumanist people, just wander around with semi-conscious, obeying what we're told.
Very strange.
But to be honest, I don't need to do that because people are doing it anyway.
There's so many things that are converging. It's like, where does the movie stop and the true reality start? And like, for instance, I'm reading an article yesterday that Elon Musk says that his company or another private company will land on the moon in 2024.
Oh, really?
And I thought, oh, this is crazy. We haven't been back to the moon since the 60s because of whatever their excuse is, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yet private companies are going to be landing on the moon. Like there's something doesn't add up here. Like what's going on,
Yeah. That the whole story is just, but it's so weird, isn't it? Changes continually. But the basic story is like reading a book. You know exactly what's going to happen. Turn the page and you can predict it. But there's this other stuff that is, I don't know.
It's like the God element, like the universal God element. Like whatever is done, it can't put a dent in it. I mean, it still comes through. Do you ever get like collective information from like when
for everybody's stuff?
Yeah, like just like what the hell's going on in the world, stuff like that.
I've had some stuff through, different things. I mean, Amy's the good one for that. She's great. You just ask her anything, and she just goes there and gets the information.
Was amazing.
She was quite nervous doing that, so she probably didn't come across as confident as she normally is. But she just, she just talks to her, as she said now. She said for a while now that's my higher self, but she sees her for Zella, and. So I ask her a lot, and then I often get told, "Oh, you're not meant to ask this. You can work it out for yourself," sort of thing. She puts me in my place. But yeah, well, I mean, I've had I've had a couple of weird, quite vivid dreams about what's going on, and I definitely think that there's some big energy going to happen soon. Definitely, I think we're building up for it, which is what why we're all buzzing so much. I had this amazing dream. I dreamt that it was funny actually. I was in a museum. I have dreams about museums for some strange reason. Well, recently it's quite new, but I've had a few of them. And I was in this museum, and I came out of the museum, and somebody needed Reiki. Somebody needed help. So I went over and I said, well, you know, I don't know if I can help you. I can't really remember what's wrong with them. And I was about to give them Reiki when this woman came up. I won't say who it was, but it's somebody I know who you've had on before now. And she came out and she started talking to me. And she was really amazing, knowledgeable, almost, you know, sort of somebody from who's always been here, you know, the sort of guardian of the universe. And she was telling me all this information, and then she just vanished. She just disappeared off. And I was calling after her help, you know, and she said, got to give the healing. You're needed for the healing. You will be needed for the healing. And with that, it was in the road. We were in a town. It was lots of leaves. It was very, you know, very nice, sort of park-like. And the wind blew, and I could feel tingling all over. And I looked up at the sun, and everybody stopped in the street, and everybody was looking up at the sun. And there were all these sparkles coming down, and they were all around us, and everybody was being touched by this incredibly warm, magical glow. And I knew that the whole world had changed. And wow. I just knew that something had happened, the whole world was changed. And then it stopped, and everybody just started walking on as if nothing had happened. But I knew they knew something had happened as well. It was, I can't really describe it because it was very, it's more something you have to see, visualize. But yeah, so I think something like that. I don't know exactly what. I think there's going to be some big energy that's going to change people. Maybe, you know, wake them up. Maybe make them more powerful. Make them more be able to see what's really going on, what's really here. You know, see the spaceships and the stuff that's around them. But it was incredible. The feeling, I'm tingling now. It's a really lovely feeling.
Yeah, I heard a big tone when you said that. I remember in 2019, which would have been about this time, about 2 years ago, there was quite a few people through sessions said that there would be a solar flash in October of 2019. And I never have really resonated with the idea that, you know, the universe is going to blink its eye at us and we're all going to wake up. But recently, like over the last few weeks, I'm starting to feel like something like that's going to happen. Like
something's going to happen. Something's going to change. But I don't know what. We're not meant to know, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say there's going to be a big exodus on Earth as well. Yeah. And I was told that there would be. I've been told this actually several times. There will be. But the people that go are choosing to go. It's not that they're being made to go. They're actually choosing to go. And one of their jobs is to help us who are still here. Mm-hmm. So they'll be working from the other side. So they would have had experience here, seen what's going on. And through that experience, when they pass over, they'll be able to use their energies to help us to, or whoever's around.
Almost like a bridge.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've heard that too, you know.
I've seen that for quite a few years, actually, on and off that.
You have, yeah. Franco talks about that. And others do too. I don't want to just, you know, single him out, but talk about specifically the period between now and the end of next year where 25% will transition. And like you said, it's not a bad thing. It's just that's just they're still doing the same thing we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. They're just in a slightly different dimension. You'll still be able to touch them and feel them if you want to, or you can believe it, you know, because they'll still be here helping, but from a different angle, using different energies that maybe we can't use. I don't know.
Angle is a good word, I think. Yeah. Angle to me is when I think of that in that regard, I think of colors and frequencies and wavelengths. We think it's going to be words like, here's a book, read it, but it's not.
That's something, that's something Amy's had a lot of experience with, where she's met beings and things, and they've either made tunes, or they've clicked, or they've whistled. They don't actually talk. She's had quite a few of those beings that were, that she's met one way or another, and they don't use the words, and they don't use telepathy necessarily. They just hum or something, or because they don't need to.
I agree. I think that's like tones, just basic, like things that you would think are very singular, but they actually contain like just massive amounts of energy.
And that's right. It's frequency, isn't it? It's all frequency.
And I think that type of stuff is coming through. Like you see people taking pictures, and there's all these weird lights, and there's orbs, and like I was in the bathroom last night. I went in to brush my teeth, and there's a little, you have a bathroom window, and I keep it open. I like the windows open. And I was brushing my teeth, and all of a sudden I heard this, and I thought, and it's like probably like 3:30 or 4 in the morning, and I turned and I was like, what the hell was that? Like, because I'm on it's built on a hill, so it's like a second story. And so I turned and started brushing my teeth again, and I heard it again on the window, like somebody was knocking on the window. Like, how the hell is that going to happen? But I just thought to myself, and I kind of knew, like I was being told, we're here. We want to have a whatever, connection or whatever. And I told you before we got on, and when I walked in the bedroom, it was just full. But nothing was really ever said, just flashes of light.
That's right. And things happen, don't they? Because I was just thinking that then. I've had two of my daughters on 2 different occasions have seen me asleep, but I've been floating above my body or something like that. And I have no idea what was going on because I was asleep. And when I've been woken, it's like, well, I don't know. Things happen, don't they? And you don't necessarily know. Imagine you're doing your deep consciousness, what the bangs are and what the strange things are that go on. I had another thing I remember just then that happened. So I had the soot incident, which was a bit weird. And I had, this was when I was a teenager again. I woke up and I had a box in my throat. I had a little box in my throat, and I had to swallow because I couldn't do anything but swallow this box. It scratched my throat all the way down. What was that? Why did I have a box? And I did, it was real. I was stuck with me all my life, Why did I have a box in my throat? What was it? Where did it go? What was that one about? Strange experience.
You have like this fairy energy too.
Weird
like
experiences.
Wow. Yeah, it's so refreshing to just be in your energy.
Thank you.
It makes me as I woke up today and faced with the things that like not whatever obstacles and everything, and you just, it's like those energies told you it's just dust. And then you sit with someone like this. For me anyway, I sit with someone like this, and it's not even what they say. It's just being in that calmness with them. I mean, and Amy's the same way. I mean, like you said, she was nervous, but for Christ's sake, I mean, it was just like, okay, you want to do this?
Like, she was right full on, wasn't she? I was very impressed with her confidence and her strong voice and the way she spoke, and totally, well, she was who she is. She had no, she's not had any, she's always been easy, actually, Amy. She's not had any programming in a way, although obviously she has to a certain extent because she's been to school, but she knows her own mind. I've never really had to tell her off, I don't remember, about anything, because she's just been who she is, and it's never been a problem. I just think she's been here many times and she just knows how it all works. That's what I think. I think she was born smiling. And
I just wonder, isn't that the truth? Just, you know what I mean? Just smile.
Yeah.
Smile's like the
Right.
soul. It's like the
Yeah.
soul. It's like the sun. You
Yeah,
can't do
exactly.
anything. You can't argue with it, right?
No.
But I just wonder, when I see her and some of these other children and young people, I wonder how many is there? Like,
It's
how
probably
long?
lots, but
That's what
it's quite a
yeah.
difficult thing, I think. I mean, she's still not quite a teenager. I
Mm,
think when you get to teenagehood, there's such pressure, isn't there, to be a certain way, be a certain person. So it's quite fearful if you're not that person. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, she'll stay like this. I think she will.
well,
I think she will, because she's got so much knowledge. I can't see how she could be any different.
yeah.
But I think for teenagers or young people, it's quite difficult to say things because there's so much pressure, isn't there, on you to,
Yeah.
in so many ways, whether it's school or whether it's, you know, working out who you are is quite a tough thing unless you're totally shrouded from society.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can stay that way. I don't know.
Yeah, the teenage years are so formidable too.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the energy is so much different than it was when I was young, or you were young. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
different.
I know. I was thinking that. Well, we were very repressed, weren't we? I think I was anyway. It was very much you do as you're told, and this is the way society is. I mean, I was brought up by my mum was an evacuee. She lived in London when there was war and stuff, and she got evacuated. And I think there was very much that sort of repression still with parents. You know, that there was this sort of fear that you have to obey and do certain things because actually life had got out of control for a while, and it's quite frightening.
Yeah,
So I
no
think my
doubt, no
parents,
doubt. That was traumatically imprinted on.
oh, totally, she was totally traumatized by it. That's why she had mental illness, I think, personally. She had such a terrible life, really, as a child.
Wow, what a way to start the day after a crazy night.
Yeah,
You know,
you'll see more sparkles tonight.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something's
definitely.
going on, and I'm just going to try to be like you and Amy and just be
Go
calm
with
and,
it.
you
Go
know,
with it, and just try not to buy into stuff, and just
no,
enjoy the magic. There's
yeah,
so much magic.
just,
There's more magic around now, I think, than there ever has been, or
it
more
feels like that.
magic you can see.
Yeah,
Maybe it's more visual for us. Maybe
it
we're
feels
just higher
like that, though.
vibe. I don't know.
It just feels, you know, even like some people talk about, well, the reptilians were moved off the planet, or the archons are gone, or,
But saying all that, you know, even those are part of us, and
I agree.
you
I
know,
agree.
and some of them are good. You know, they all probably want to be good. It's like you could look at our society; it's exactly the same. You're going to have some that are darker energies than others, but it's only because they haven't. Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're just teaching us. Maybe it's because they haven't had the the life experiences we have. I don't know, but.
No,
Even
I agree.
reptilians, however low they are, want to be 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever you want to call it, you know, another layer, another dimension, a higher dimension. I tell you another thing that happened. This is weird as well. Another of my weird experiences. I went to a different realm once. Last year it was. I went to a totally different realm. And I know people say, oh, well, you know, lucid dreaming. I wasn't lucid dreaming. I actually, it was in the morning. It was a school holiday, I think, or a lockdown, something like that. So the children were home. And I was meditating and I thought, I'm going to go to the void. And I was determined to go to the void. And every time I did, I either dozed off to sleep or the door, you know, the phone rang or something. Something kept bringing me back. And so I wouldn't give up. I was determined. And then suddenly I was in this other realm with other people, with different characters. It was a bit like Harry Potter realm, actually. And again, it's full of love. And I was wandering through the streets chatting to them, and they were inviting me to go to their festival that they were having in the middle of their village and all this. And I said in the end, I said, look, I've got to go back because my children are going to wake up and I've got to be in my body, you know, I can't not be there when they wake up and look for me. And with that, I said goodbye, and they said to come again, and I shot back in my body. I remember coming into my body. That was bizarre.
Well, if it's happening to you, it's going to happen to all of us.
Wow, it's so bizarre.
You know?
Again, you know, but you get left with this, and you're lying in bed, sort of getting up or whatever, and you're thinking, what happened?
You're like Wendy.
What do I do with it?
You're like Wendy and Peter Pan.
Yeah. What do I do with this you know, why was I sharing that? What? I can't make sense of half the stuff that goes on. One day, hopefully, I will. But
Well, you certainly hold it together because a lot of people, and I've met some, you know, personally, that had those types of experience and just couldn't function. You know, they
it was
couldn't
so
function.
strange. Yeah.
They get medicated, you know, they get stigmatized with, you know, personality disorder,
Well,
or different things.
I haven't gone around telling everybody, although obviously maybe a few more people will know now. But it was just so weird.
Yeah. Well, the support of the last show with you and Amy was huge.
Thank you.
Because it's kind of hard to see at Soulogy because it's 10 different platforms. But
Yeah.
I look at everything, and it was really encouraging to me. So I felt like it was a sign of things to come. But I appreciate both of you coming on, and I look forward to supporting you both and collaborating with you as things happen organically. But certainly, you know, both of you deserve a lot of credit for stepping up because you're going to make it easier for others. It's already started. So I just want to say on a personal level, thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me and, you know, listening and accepting.
No problem. Thank you so much. I love you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be back in 45 minutes for the next one.
Okay. You take care. Thank you.
Tell Amy hi. All blessings to you and your family.